Hey YouTube and effing true followers in the YWC, JC Styles here.
Brian Crazy.
And this is our epic discussion.
Well, we're effing true wrestling.
Yes, we're effing true wrestling. This is our epic discussion 3. That we're going to be following, in this video we're going to be touching on a lot of stuff. But first off, we want to, I'll let Brian take it, basically about what this video is going to be about.
Yeah, the primary discussion in this video is going to be the people versus the Cenation, Rock versus John Cena, their current feud, what things in the WWE have built up towards this feud, kind of what we'd like to see happen with the John Cena character, what we'd like to see happen with The Rock if he has an extended stay. Why have we gotten into this point in wrestling?
Yes.
The current fans of wrestling?
Yes.
I mean, just pretty much everything that goes into this. But before we jump in the video, we do want to make one quick point. Regardless of what we say in this video, at the end of the day, me and JC Styles respect all the athletes and we respect what they go out there and do. We might not be big fans of their current gimmicks or this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, these guys go out there and put their lives on the line to entertain us. So we do respect that.
Yes.
But there are things that we would like to see a little bit different. Yeah. And this is going to be a little more of a straight shoot than you guys are used to seeing. But we're going to jump right into it.
We're sorry in advance if this video goes a little bit longer. We hope that our pure wrestling viewers who watch us on a weekly basis, that watch our full videos, and even the wrestlers, the guys who watch it just to hear us, basically get through the full card of who wins, who loses, and then turns the video off without watching the rest of it. Yeah. We hope you guys will sit here and watch the whole video. My first thing I want to do is, when Sin Cara joined the WWE, just to touch on this a lot of people were calling him, Botch Cara, going out there and basically saying the guy can't wrestle a match without botching something. Okay, I've watched a lot of Mystico matches prior to his WWE debut. Sin Cara is used to going out there and wrestling with a different style wrestler.
He is.
He's used to going out there with wrestling with guys that go. For instance, he's used to going out there and wrestling a guy in Mexico that was the speed and quickness that Rey Mysterio had when he was in WCW.
Exactly.
He's used to going out there and going hard, going fast-paced.
It's a different style. He's adapting to the American style of wrestling.
Yeah, he's adapting to the different style of wrestling.
And plain and simple, backstage is a lot of different people have been trying to give Sin Cara advice, and Triple H basically said, don't take a word of advice from anybody about American wrestling unless it comes from my mouth.
Well, not even that. I mean,
that's what was said backstage to Sin Cara. Everybody's been trying to tell Sin Cara what to do, and Triple H went straight, because this is Triple H's first major acquisition as the big backstage player now. He brought Sin Cara up from Mexico.
Yeah.
And what's going on behind the scenes is, he said to Sin Cara point blank, don't take advice on American wrestling from any of these other guys, because you know what? He feels like some people might be trying to sabotage Sin Cara.
Well, I think that if him and Rey Mysterio sat down, because Rey Mysterio has adapted, went from Mexico and came to the United States and knows what it's like to be an American-styled Mexican luchador.
I think Triple H is just protecting his investment.
He's protecting his, But the thing is, though, when you guys go out there and the people that bash guys, bash Sin Cara, like I bash the knockouts, every now and again, because the way that some of their finishes go. But the thing about it is that, like I said, Sin Cara's used to going out there and he's used to going full speed, 100 miles an hour, hard.
Well, I mean, before we even get farther, you got to give.
I enjoy Sin Cara wrestling.
Well, but back to the knockouts. I mean, these are female wrestlers. They're not 300-pound heavyweights. These are girls that are going out there and doing their best. There's a lot less places that teach women how to wrestle that teach men how to wrestle. And and a lot of these girls are first generation. They're breaking in and out of other careers. So you got to give them credit where credit's due.
But like I was gonna say, I was gonna touch on that a little bit later on when I was going on my little tirade here. Sin Cara came over from Mexico. Me and Brian had the privilege to see Sin Cara wrestle live on 4/11/11 at Monday Night Raw here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. His very first official.
It was 4/18.
No, it was 4/11. It was the Monday night It was a week after WrestleMania. The Monday night a week later.
It wasn't. You're right.
That Raw, we seen Sin Cara take on Primo, and it was a fantastic Raw. We enjoyed it. And me and Brian see it because that Sin Cara is trying to still adapt to the American style of wrestling. He is gonna mistakenly mess up a couple of moves, but when you guys go out there and have, me and Brian have watched footage upon footage upon footage of wrestling. We've been watching wrestling I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 years old.
I've been watching it since I was very little myself. And the thing about it is, too, is this is something else we're going to get on in the video, and maybe we should just start to get onto it now. There's different styles of wrestling. And there's always been different styles of wrestling.
You got the Japanese style wrestling.
You got your luchador style from Mexico, and then you've got your more traditional American heavyweight brawler style. And that's the thing. Professional wrestling is trying to make a nice balance of those. Not every match is going to be a cruiserweight match. Like, a lot of people enjoy that cruiserweight style, and we got a rare treat that we got to see all cruiserweight X Division matches at Destination X. Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth. But that's not a typical occurrence. I love cruiserweight style. I love the mid-card. And I think, like we were talking about before we started this video, that they deserve to be highlighted. There's a lot of up-and-coming guys that deserve to be highlighted more. It's just that there's only so much TV time. Yeah.
Superstars, I think with as much money as WWE makes, I think that they could probably, get an hour prime time. Maybe at like a WCW's old time slot on Saturday, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, and get the wrestling fans interested in Saturday wrestling again.
Vince would have to convince the network to hold another show for him.
Yeah.
And you got to think, now he's got USA Networks now holding his 2 major shows.
Maybe, because I watch USA Network on the weekends, and usually the only thing that's really interesting that you see on the weekends, you'll probably see a couple of movies here and there. You'll see a whole bunch of Law and Order and NCIS.
If we still had Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah.
If we still had Sunday Night Heat.
Or maybe that's what you do. Don't bring back Sunday Night Heat, but bring back Superstars and have Superstars go into the pay-per-views. Yeah. Every time there's a pay-per-view, you hold a live Superstar.
Or you could hold a live Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah.
You could cancel Superstars and bring back Sunday Night Heat, which was a recognized show that fans from our generation will be like, oh shit, Sunday Night Heat's on? I'll watch that.
But don't use it to build up feuds for later in the night that have already had 4 weeks worth of build-up.
Yeah. I mean, if you had a little spot, like, okay, remember...
for instance, if you... Okay, say...
Remember Rock, on one episode, Rock had Mabel come out and do a big splash on somebody.
Yeah.
What was that? 2-3 minutes of airtime?
Yeah.
That wasn't a crime. But don't have a 20-minute promo segment.
On an hour show, let's leading into a pay-per-view.
And then you're going to have 20 minutes of commercials.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
but like I was saying, if you're going to sit there, and you're going to bash somebody, don't watch the product. I go out there and I say, I can't stand Cena, I friggin' hate Cena, blah, blah.
Let's move into Cena Rock now.
But hold on, Paul, I still haven't finished my Sin Cara thing.
Okay.
Like I was saying, I'm not going to repeat myself. You guys heard what I said about Sin Cara early in the show, early in the video. But if you can't get in the ring and physically do what Sin Cara does on a nightly basis, because he also, WWE travels, and they do house shows and they do live shows and stuff like that. If you can't get in the ring and do it yourself, don't contradict what they do in the ring.
Exactly. I mean, these are human bodies that have to somehow defy the laws of physics. And I mean, these guys are incredible in what they do. So you see one move not come off exactly the way it's supposed to be. Guess what? These guys are out there busting their ass, trying their best for you to put on a great show. I know you're disappointed when they don't hit the move the way you think it should be choreographed, or the way that it's done in SmackDown versus Raw, but this is real world. Not everything's perfect. You get 2 guys that are a little sweat on them, bam, someone's neck's going to end up broken.
Yeah.
Realistically, step back from these little childish thoughts about, these childish thoughts about the wrestling business, and step back and stop sitting there as the couch potato that's just watching this on your television set, and step back and think, if I was actually running this, or if I was in these guys' boots, if I was lacing up these boots knowing that I have to climb a 20-foot ladder, and there's a chance if I fall the wrong way, I could be paralyzed for the rest of my life, and they still go out there and do it because they love wrestling.
Exactly.
I think Kevin Nash said it best back in the day. He loves wrestling for 2 things. For the money that he makes, and for going for the big gold belt.
Yeah.
He wants to be the best wrestler there is, and he wants to be...
Yeah, and I think, and it's also,
who doesn't want to be rich? I mean, at the end of the day, who doesn't want to be rich?
Yeah. It was like, to touch on TNA for a little bit, for just a minute, and then we'll get into the Rock, we'll get into the CM Punk, we'll get into the...
Alright, you said TNA, 58 seconds.
I'm not talking about TNA right now.
I don't even have
before we talk into that, you know, the CM Punk, and then which we're going to lead into the Rock and John Cena feud, which is the purpose of this video, which is all leading up the CM Punk, John Cena feud, John Cena Rock feud. TNA, like Kevin Nash said back the month, I think it was the Thursday night following Bound for Glory, when we saw Immortal finally, you know, come together, Fortune and everything. You know, Kevin Nash came out, he says, as I got older, I got wiser. That guy who I would have taken everything off of his family's plate are now my friends.
Exactly.
You know, and basically he says, for once, you know, as you got older, I got wiser, and with gray hair comes wisdom. And basically, he was trying to you know, point finger at Eric Bischoff. Is like, Eric, what are you doing? You're gonna drive this company into the ground. But you know, it's not happening like that. But storyline wise,
well, I think in the storyline though, and you got to give a lot of legitimacy to this, with the Bischoff Immortal regime, you got to think, soon as Hulk Hogan came to TNA tried to go to Monday nights to compete with WWE. But they got the biggest exposure that they've ever had. Yeah. They got within a couple of weeks, you had Jeff Hardy come back. You had Anderson come back.
Yeah.
You had, I mean,
you know,
Hulk Hogan was a polarizing force to help revitalize TNA.
But you know,
like him or not, I mean, a lot of people don't like Hulkster. A lot of people don't like Eric Bischoff. But behind the scenes, Eric Bischoff took a small Southern-based wrestling company and turned them national and made them quite successful. If this man was good enough to work for Vern Gagne,
as I call them, NWO 2.0, which is TNA, Eric Bischoff and Hogan's version of the NWO, which is Immortal. Okay.
Well, this would be NWO like 7.0 by this point.
But it's the original NWO, which had Hogan in it.
Yeah.
Okay. You know.
I mean, the only holdout now that Steiner's joined, I guess you could legitimately say Hogan, Steiner, and Bischoff. I mean, you got three of the founding members of the NWO.
You know, the thing is, it's not going to happen, but in my mind, you know, I don't like what's going on. I want to see wrestling. I don't want to see a 20-minute promo.
Yeah, the promos could be limited. I do think that the whole angle is good. They're building a lot of feuds, and feuds in wrestling are good. Feuds make it for good stories. And I think the one big plus about Immortal is you're seeing a guy like Bully Ray, who was a tag team wrestler forever. I might not be the biggest fan of his current gimmick, but you got a guy like Bully Ray finally getting some airtime as a singles competitor.
Yeah.
You got a guy like Crimson getting some airtime.
Yeah,
you got a guy like Gunner getting airtime. And, you know, Gunner might not be the greatest thing since sliced white bread, but he's a good athlete. And he tries hard. And that's what matters.
With that being said, we're going to touch on, you know, we all know what's going on, the current thing with CM Punk. CM Punk wants almost this exact duplicate of what John Cena is getting. She's not going to get it, but this is what I think needs to happen. You know, we had guys like Colt Cabana, Samoa Joe, and some other guys came over from ROH. Daniel Bryan, I think, was pretty much the best success that came from ROH and the other indie promotions into the WWE.
Well, with the exception of CM Punk.
Yeah, with the exception of CM Punk. Okay, you have a guy like CM Punk who is the best technical wrestler, is best on the mic, best in the ring, best outside of the ring. Now, I haven't gotten to meet CM Punk yet, and I want to be able to sit down with this guy, you know, even if it's just a minute, and just be like, man, you know, just talk with him. I got to meet Mr. Anderson, and, you know, his character that he portrays on TV, you know, I'm the cock of the walk, blah, blah, you know, the comedic, he's just like that in real life. He is on TV. You know, I got to interact with him, you know, he was joking around, blah, 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 you know. But, you know, the thing with CM Punk is he doesn't like the fact is that John Cena is being portrayed as the best in the business right now, and he wants to see some of his buddies get proper exposure and come back to the WWE.
And I think it's making for an incredible storyline right now.
Offer it to him.
And I think this is making for an incredible storyline right now. I think they're really making John Cena look like the bad guy now. You know, he fought for CM Punk for the week, but now he wants to try to censor him. That's the same thing that they're going to do with The Rock. They're going to make Cena look like the bad guy and try to make him more of the heel and The Rock the face, which I think is the right way to go. And I think the WWE should do whatever it takes to appease CM Punk. You know, maybe if they can't sign a whole bunch of talent right now due to, you know, various reasons, financials or this, that, and the other, they need to give CM Punk what he wants.
Yeah. I mean, if they can't get
granted, he might not get the $2 million that John Cena's making right now.
Or he's not going to get the TV time. But if the guy wants his own, you know, I mean, I don't think he really wants a private jet. I think that's just, you know, padding.
That's all part of the storyline.
But I mean, if the guy wants, you know, if he wants you know, an actual T-shirt like what Cena has, bright color. I mean, I don't think CM Punk is all about running around with purple, red, green, black, blue, whatever. Sure, but I mean, if he wants, proper merchandising, if he wants to be issued on a magazine more, if he wants to be on the cover of the promo magazines, if he wants to be, he is, regardless of what he says, he is part of the intro on Monday Night Raw. He just doesn't have his. I mean, Cena appears like 3 or 4 times in the whole thing. I think that's what really means he really wants.
And I really preferred the intro when it used to go, "The whole world is watching" by Jim Ross, except the champ is here. Like, that just annoys me.
Or now isn't Michael Cole over that now?
No, Michael Cole's over some other part.
Oh, so basically, give CM Punk what he wants. I mean, if you're not gonna give him everything, meet him halfway and be like, look, I can't give you the TV, as much.
I can't give you the world, but I can try to meet you halfway.
Yeah, if you want some of your buddies from ROH, I would try to meet him halfway with that. Give me a list of guys. I'll watch some footage. And
I'll come in for a dark match. I'll give him a tryout, and we'll go from there.
And then if they get the proper respect from the fans and the proper the proper.
FCW's hot right now, man. I'm sure like a guy like Colt Cabana could become FCW heavyweight champ and help run that promotion.
Exactly.
And if FCW could get some national airtime, that could almost be a better show than Superstars.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, WWE has so many wrestlers that aren't being published being aired right now because the Superstars is on the net. But
which is easily accessible on Hulu.
Now the casual. Now to talk about the casual wrestling fans who were booing CM Punk, but now they're cheering CM Punk only because he's going against WWE's golden boy, John Cena.
Well,
I've always liked Punk.
I have too. I've always liked Punk. It's not that I hate or dislike Cena. It's just I would like to see Cena evolve as a character. I don't think we should really dwell on it too much. Yeah. But I think Cena evolving as a character would be a good thing. He's already evolved his character a lot since he started.
Yeah.
I mean, he had that whole fake kind of wigger gimmick going on. He dropped that. He's kind of moved into just more of a, he's supposed to be the upstanding guy that stands up for what's right.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, that's what Hulkamania was all about.
When WWE was being investigated because of the Chris Benoit incident, which is another topic for another video that I am going to produce. I don't know if Brian wants to be a part of that video or not. But
I was a huge Benoit fan.
What wrestling
talk about that.
What wrestling did for Benoit, and then the toll wrestling as a whole took on Benoit's body and his brain. Caused him to do what he did. WWE was
when they did his autopsy, he had a brain of an 80-year-old
Alzheimer's patient.
Correct.
But here's the thing about the situation, though. When John Cena was being interviewed on TV, John, do you take steroids? He laughed and says, "You can't prove that I am. You can't prove that I'm not."
Yeah.
CM Punk is a pure drug-free wrestler, which I think would be, regardless of the Mickey Mouse tattoos he has.
Actually, they're not Mickey Mouse. Every one of his tattoos has meaning.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying no. WWE sees it as a guy's got all tatted. I want him being the flag carrier of my company.
Randy Orton's all tatted the hell up, but those are really articulate.
Those are articulate tattoos.
I mean, they're beautiful. But CM Punks all have
have meaning. But WWE doesn't see it that way, and I think that's why WWE hasn't pushed CM Punk. CM Punk needs a push as for a couple of months that he deserves to be as champion.
I love the CM Punk John Cena feud, but if they were to do this right,
they should have it last for a couple of weeks.
Well, they should have left CM Punk on SmackDown, and CM Punk Randy Orton would have been an incredible feud. They should have continued that going, because at least SmackDown would have had the main event would have been a little more amped up.
Yeah. Then we're going to speed this up just a little bit, but the thing though is I would love to see CM Punk become champion. I would like to see CM Punk get the proper TV time he deserves, and I would like to see CM Punk be the flag carrier for the company. I mean, he's drug free. He's straight edge. The guy, I did some looking into it. The guy had a split skull when he was in ROH. He was in a match and he was taken to the emergency room. They wanted to give him medication to numb the pain, and he said no. He fought through the pain and had his head stitched up, because that's how straight edge he really is.
Yeah, he does
not do drugs. He does not drink. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't do anything. I mean, casually he'll probably take a picture and he's like, with a beer in his hand, but he's not really drinking it.
No, he's very
a legitimate.
Well, I
clean
guess that
wrestler.
came from his parents. I guess his parents had a problem, or his father, or mother. I don't know the particulars, but you know,
he should be.
He could be a good champion. He could be a good main eventer. And even if he doesn't win the strap this time around, I'd like to see him hang around and feud for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we were talking about before we started this video, there's been a bunch of great superstars that have never held the strap, but have been in the main event picture for years.
Exactly.
Roddy Piper is one of them. First person I could pick
Jerry the
up.
King Lawler.
Exactly. Never held the WWE strap.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan was kind of a joke, but other than him winning the Royal Rumble, he hasn't really done anything in his career. But he is, you know, he's a great talent. And you know, the thing is, now we'll get into the, you know, John Cena. You touched on him, you know, polishing his in-ring ability. Chavo cut a rant on Twitter. He basically says the John Cena Superman gimmick is a joke. And then, you know, I'm not going to drop any names. I watched a couple of videos, and a lot of people really made some really interesting, you know, strong things, like SVTV, Sean's View TV. He made some really good points in his video. I think he was working off of what Chavo said, but you know, Chavo went out week in and week out and had to adapt and come out with something new to get over with the fans more. You know, he comes from a long line of Guerreros, and they don't go out there and they don't put on a C or a D show. They put a B or better show.
They put on an A show every time. That is their goal.
You know, and the thing is that, you know, Chavo, you know, then I saw a video that really bothered me. I'm not gonna check out Silent Rage. He does do some really interesting videos. I didn't agree what he said about Chavo saying that, you know, this guy didn't really have, and John Cena's current gimmick has gotten him 10 world champions. How many championships has Chavo won?
Well, that's also a thing too. Like I was talking about, there's plenty of people that have been in the main event that never won the world championship.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that have been in the mid card, and they've stayed in the mid card for their whole career.
Yeah.
And they've been the best there is in the mid card.
I mean, Chavo was cruiserweight champion. I think he was WCW champion.
You can be in one division. It used to be
multi-time tag team champion.
But it used to be that you had divisions.
Yeah.
And your guys would stay in the divisions, and once in a blue moon, you'd have that guy that would break out from the division to the next one. Yeah. And it would be a slow build process.
I remember, I think when Eddie Guerrero was champion, he had a feud with, it wasn't pictured in the main event, but he had a feud with his nephew Chavo.
Yeah, but I mean, like, example, there's been some...
Like Eddie Guerrero spent his whole life in the mid-card and finally got his push in 04, and God rest his soul, he passed away in 05. But he went out the way a wrestler should, and he went out.
Interesting fact I found out about Eddie Guerrero today. Do you know at Judgment Day 2004, during that match, I don't know if you guys know about this, but there is a practice in professional wrestling. It's called blading. It's where they had a little razor blade in their wrist tape, and they cut right up here, and with the sweat, it makes them look like they're profusely bleeding. He hit the wrong spot of his head, and he bled so bad in that match that for the next 2 weeks he couldn't perform properly.
I think I had that DVD. I'm probably gonna have to check that out. But
Judgment Day 04.
You know, God rest Eddie Guerrero's soul. He was. I love him.
I love Eddie too.
He was best. I had, you know, got to see Eddie live several times. But the thing about it is, you know, he was the Cinderella story. He spent many years with a drug addiction, almost died several times. If you haven't read his book, it's called The Eddie Guerrero Cheating Death and Stealing Life. It was a fantastic book. And then when he cleaned up his habits, wrestling became his addiction.
Yeah, it did.
It became his life. It became his drug. And you know, and then unfortunately he passed away. He passed away from an enlarged. His body was getting too big, and his heart couldn't sustain the pressure, and he passed away. You know, and I got to see Eddie live several times, and I never really got to sit down and meet him, but I would have loved to have sit down and just joke around with him for a minute, you know, and just, you know, pick his brain about so many different things. But again, which brings back to what Brian said, these guys spend a lifetime in the mid-card and finally get their big push. Benoit, for example. I mean, Benoit had several big pushes in WCW, but never received the brass ring. Then he comes to the WWE.
He was WCW champion.
World.
He was WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
You know, and then he comes to the WWE.
He was aligned with the Four Horsemen.
I don't remember that.
He was. I'm 99% sure. If I'm wrong, don't shoot me, but I'm 99% sure.
You sit there, we sit here and we watch, you know, wrestling, and you know, and Eddie and Chris Benoit completed a Cinderella story in 2004.
Exactly.
Along with Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero, best friends Chris Benoit.
That's
Eddie Guerrero won. Chris Benoit won the 2004 Royal Rumble. Then we see the next month on an All SmackDown pay-per-view, you saw Eddie capture the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar at No Way Out. Then you see them both defend the title. You see Eddie Guerrero have a fantastic 5-star match with Kurt Angle. You know, controversy finish. You know, but that was Eddie Guerrero's style. He always he cheats his steal. You know, and then we see Chris Benoit in another fantastic match at WrestleMania 20 with later in the night beating Triple H and Shawn Michaels, two of the best in the WWE, to become World Heavyweight Champions.
But I mean,
2004 was a very good year for WWE because you had Chris Benoit and you had Eddie Guerrero as champion.
Oh yeah, they were definitely fantastic title reigns. And you know, I enjoyed part of 2004 as well because of JBL. I liked Bradshaw from back in the day when he was Bradshaw.
I liked JBL when he was Bradshaw and when he was part of the APA. When he broke out on his own, I really didn't, because I always saw him more of a tag team wrestler.
But I mean,
because he had the power. But then when he became this whole Wall Street gimmick, to me he became soft because he lost some of that power.
But in the ring though, I mean, dude, when he hit you with the clothesline from hell or the clothesline from Wall Street.
Yeah, well then he stopped doing the clothesline from hell, and then he had the JBL powerbomb.
And then he brought back the clothesline from hell in the later matches.
But to get further into this video, the Cenation versus the people.
Yeah, I mean, you've got this Twitter war going back and forth. It's great that they're using social media to kind of get out to the internet fans and get more people interested.
You took my word, social media.
Hey, I heard you say it about 7 times tonight. It resonated up here. And if you guys don't know, I've been fighting a cold the last couple days, so my throat is completely shot. I'm probably going to actually have to stop talking in a minute. But I definitely want to get these thoughts out there. I know we haven't produced a lot of videos this week. I've been sick since Wednesday, so it really has kind of affected our production schedule. Yes. And, like, guys, I tried to watch SmackDown last night so hard, and I just could not stay awake.
I was just going to check the time where Brian talked.
Yeah. But to touch on it, you know, John Cena, basically what we would like to see out of Cena is him to get polished a little more, maybe possibly take a heel turn, just revitalize, change his character. He needs to be less Hulk Hogan-like. He needs to be less Hulk Hogan-like, and he needs to just stand on his own, become a new character. I know he's a huge draw. I know the current demographic is really interested in him. Let's touch on The Rock.
And John Cena. Pretty much, The Rock came back early this year. He stated why he left the WWE. He left because he thought that if he could pursue in other aspects of entertainment, that he knew that he had made it. You know, he left, and, you know, to be honest, people leave comments, and I watch videos and then on this topic, and I've watched videos and I've read comments of people who bashed The Rock's movies, who said that, you know, he left the, you know, John Cena bashed The Rock about how he left the WWE to play a tooth fairy with the a fairy with a tooth. He left the WWE to rock a grass skirt in the game plan. He left WWE to play a gay guy and be cool. You know,
I just think that a lot of this stuff is, a lot of it's worked.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worked. But to be honest, the only movie that The Rock did that I really didn't like was Doom, because that movie was an abomination. Just because the fact is that I played Doom when I was a kid, and
I did too.
Great game, but they didn't really. That's the thing with movies based off of video games. They never live up to the hype of the game.
Well, they either get it right or they get it wrong.
Yeah, and with this, for instance, a lot of the video game movies based off the video games are wrong. You know, Silent Hill, I think, was the only big success, and they haven't really went on to make a
Tomb Raider wasn't bad.
Tomb Raider?
They did alright with Tomb Raider.
They did okay, but it
the
really
first one, the original Tomb Raider was good.
I don't know. I would have. See though, with the video games based off of movies.
I mean, it really followed how the story in the game, the original PlayStation Tomb Raider to the Tomb Raider movie, very similar.
Yeah, but the more, to be honest, I'll touch on this real quick. The Tomb Raider games were more based off of kind of like an Indiana Jones movie. You know, she went to Egypt. We got to explore the lost world of Atlantis. You know, we got to play, you know, just so many different ancient Greece, ancient Rome, all these different types of aspects of the game. If they would have kept true to the original, like the game, but more kind of went a female Indiana Jones type movie, and kind of almost reminiscent of the Indiana Jones movies.
I think they did an okay job.
Tomb Raider was good, but I think that it would have been nice if it was kind of somewhat almost similar to Indiana Jones, but with different, you know, aspects.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make something that was a little standalone.
But back to what I was saying, you know, Doom was the only Rock movie that I didn't really like.
Yeah.
I liked all the rest of the Rock's movies.
But basically, to cut it down, people are insulting The Rock that he stepped away from wrestling. He stepped away from wrestling to try to pursue other things.
Yeah. Opening the door for John Cena, just like Hulk Hogan opened the door for The Rock.
Yeah, opened the door for John Cena, Stone Cold, Mr. Kennedy, Randy Orton, Triple H. I mean, all the guys that we've seen in movies recently. And, whatever The Rock's reasons for leaving wrestling, those were his own personal reasons. He's come back because the WWE was in a period of decline. They've lost a lot of superstars in the last year. They lost Jericho, they've lost Batista, they've lost MVP, they've lost both the Hardy Boys. I mean, the list goes on.
They lost JBL because he wanted to pursue Wall Street.
Wall Street, exactly. So The Rock's come back, he's trying to help out.
Brock Lesnar left to pursue football, and then that didn't work out, so he went to MMA.
And The Rock has so much trust in Vince right now. They have a handshake agreement on all this. And the thing about it is, the big match is scheduled for 28, Cena versus Rock, and unless one of these guys gets killed in a plane crash, we're seeing this match.
Yeah, or someone gets hurt.
Or someone gets really severely hurt, yes. But the thing about it is The Rock going to hang around for years? Is he going to hang around for months? Only time's going to tell.
Yeah.
We don't have those answers. We hope, as fans, that he hangs around for a year-long run, but
also,
unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen.
Also, I've watched The Rock's latest video on John Cena. He goes on to say that that John Cena is obligated in his contract with the WWE. That does not mean that The Rock has to... he has a handshake agreement probably to so many appearances a year for the next year up until WrestleMania 28. The Rock turned around and was so heated, he went and called, this is Rock's words, a fat, herpes-infested hermaphrodite, or transvestite.
Talking about Cena?
Talking about Cena. 2, he also he says, I'm not in contract, I'm not obligated to show up to every show like you do. You are the champion. You are in contract with the WWE, so you have to show up. It's in your contract.
As I was the top draw for a period of time, now you're the top draw for,
Then The Rock goes on to basically state that, look, you want to open your mouth, you want to talk about The Rock, you're going to get what you want. I am going to return to where I became most famous, where he became The Rock, where he became electrifying, which me and Brian did a little research today. I thought that The Rock was going to probably come back at Madison Square Garden, where he made his debut in '96 at the Survivor Series.
Quite possible.
Then it was brought to my attention that I left on a comment. Someone commented back that he made his very first WrestleMania debut at WrestleMania 13 in '97 against the Sultan,
which was in Rosemont, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. That's where the Sunday's pay-per-view is.
Rosemont was Survivor Series.
Was that Survivor Series?
I think Chicago, Illinois was WrestleMania 13 because they had the Chicago Street Fight.
That's what we were just talking about. His first WrestleMania appearance.
Yeah, that was actually WrestleMania 13 was actually in Chicago.
No, Rosemont. Rosemont was a suburb of Chicago. We looked it up earlier.
But that's where he's going to make his so possible we might see this.
Hold on one second. Can I see something? Hold your ear up to the light. Okay, it is not hollow in there.
The Rock says that he's going to show up where he became famous.
He actually did it too. He actually went.
But to be honest, I would like to see The Rock show up and maybe screw Cena and out of a job and maybe see Cena get the time off he deserves.
Would be great.
It'd be epic. We see Punk.
It would be such a change.
Because then we'll see Vince come out and say, Cena, you're fired. I think Eric Bischoff said it best. What's the one thing that professional wrestling fans enjoy the most? Controversy.
Not just controversy, unpredictability.
Yeah.
They don't want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So
keep
basically,
them on the edge of their seats.
This whole, the whole feud that's going on is very fantastic. And to wrap up the video, this has just been our discussion, just stuff that
me and Brian thoughts off our head.
Get our thoughts out of our head, off our stuff, comments off our chest. Plugs of the night. I know this isn't usually a review, and these probably won't generate a lot.
Yeah, I will get my idea off my chest. Pro Wrestling Israel.
But please check out. It's actually I finally got his YouTube channel right. It is RS Eagles. His link will be in the description box. He actually did
it's not his Eagles or our Eagles?
No, it's RS Eagles. I think it's supposed to be like R Seattle.
Actually, funny enough, since you sent me his link, I checked out his first video today. Pretty good stuff.
He did Money in the Bank predictions. He does real life vlogs. Congratulations to Most Extreme Wrestling, Crystal and Chronic. Yesterday they celebrated their 2-year anniversary of being married. So have a great vacation.
Congratulations,
We'll see you guys back with our very first episode of the Roundtable discussion when they return, because we got to get that out for you guys on the click page. Please check out WrestlingRevolution.com and all the members of the Revolution, the Wrestling Show, and
F and True Entertainment.
And guys, for F and True Wrestling, hopefully you sat through this whole video. Have a good night. We'll see you back tomorrow night with Money in the Bank.
And if you did sit through this whole video, now you get to see something incredibly funny.
Boobs.
Boobs.
I love boobs, big boobs, small boobs, little boobs, tiny boobs, itsy bitsy, mosquito bites, itty bitty titties.
Here at F and True Wrestling, we do not discriminate about breasts.
We don't discriminate about anything. We love women.
As long as they're women's breasts, yes.
Yes.
Now, like Rikishi breasts, all set on.
Yes. Also, you know, just to touch on this, it's 2011. We're not judging people. You know, there seems to be a lot in wrestling of somewhat gay bashing, which started early this year, right around WrestleMania. And WWE is in bed, well, not in bed, but is in association with GLAAD, which is the Gay Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation.
There shouldn't be bashing of anybody.
No.
If that's your, choice, do what you have to do.
Unfortunately, I know a couple of people myself. I worked with one. I know one personally, and you know what? They're just as normal as other people. What they
I don't think you meant to say it was unfortunate that you know that's unfortunate how they're treated.
Yeah, it's unfortunate how they treated. I know people. One's very close to me. You know, I'm not of that nature. I think what someone does in the privacy of their own home is their own business. If they choose to go out there and parade it around, like Orlando Jordan, for example,
that's his own choosing.
That's his own choosing. But for F and True Wrestling, guys, have a great night. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow night.